Hey, what's going on everybody? I'm Macro, and in this video I want to give a few tips I have about Valorant. Hopefully they'll improve your gameplay a little bit. They'll start out with ones that are things you're going to encounter every round, every fight, and then they'll go into little things that are not so common, but I'd like to talk about them and give them some notice, and things you still should know. The first few things I'm going to talk about, most of you probably know, just because they're so important to gameplay, but people that are new to FPSs probably won't know about them. So with that, let's start off with Crosshair Placement. Yep, Crosshair Placement. This is the most important thing you should take from this video, if anything. You want your crosshair to be aiming at head level. When you're peeking corners, you want your crosshair to be aiming where the head is. There's exceptions, like with the op, like as you see in the background right now. I am aiming at head level, but you probably just want to aim at the center of mass, which is the body. When you're using an op, there's really no need. It's a bigger target. But with every other weapon, you want to aim at the head, because if you shoot the head, they die faster, meaning you won't die. Because if they die faster than you die, you're chillin'. The great appeal of crosshair placement is the fact that you don't have to flick as hard. If you don't have to flick as hard, you will be more accurate, because smaller flicks, you're obviously going to be more accurate. And that is the biggest thing. But also the idea, say you're going to peek an angle, you don't want to peek an angle looking at the floor. Most of you already know that. But basically, don't peek an angle looking at the floor. Peek an angle looking at where the enemy's head might be and trace that corner. And I'll talk about tracing corners more. But essentially, crosshair placement, place your crosshair higher, don't look at the floor, place it where the enemy's head will be when you are looking at angles or peeking an angle. In the background, I'll play a little clip of me using crosshair placement to help me hit a flick, but I really don't feel like there's a need for an example of crosshair placement as in all the background gameplay. Hopefully I have good crosshair placement. I don't always use it or practice it well, but most of the times I do. But anyways, on to the next tip. The next thing I want to talk about is something called Pkers Advantage. Pkers Advantage is the idea that people peeking an angle, the peeker, the person walking into the angle, will see the person that's holding the angle first, just due to the nature of online games and latency in general. Because the server has to update that person moving, so it has to go to the server, and then it has to go to the person holding the angle. But because the person holding the angle's sitting there, the person that's peeking the angle will see them first. So that's Pkers Advantage. A person by the name of SpinCrash on YouTube did a pretty good video about it. I recommend if you want to learn more about it, you look at that. But there are forces that act against it. Riot has done pretty good at that, especially with the way the models work and things. But there's also other natural things like Angle Advantage, which works against Pkers Advantage, which I'll talk about now. Angle Advantage is the idea that a person that is further away from the angle that two players are peeking will see the person that's closer to the angle first. Here's a little clip of Angle Advantage in action. As you'll see right here, I can see the Sage down long C, but Sage can't see me, and that's because of Angle Advantage. I can shoot Sage. Sage could also shoot me through the wall, but they can't see me. Here's the other side of that interaction. As you can see, I can't see Sage, but Sage can see me and kill me. The next thing is called tracing angles. Tracing angles is basically you want to keep your crosshair on the angle that you're peeking, and if you don't know where enemies are, you should be tracing it as you peek, so that the second someone is seen, it's most likely because you're peeking them, and you will be able to shoot them because your crosshair's on them. Another common way to peek angles is if you already know where the enemy is, there's no need for you to trace an angle. Just point your crosshair where they'll be, and then pre-fire as you peek the angle. The next thing I want to talk about are one-way smokes. One-way smokes are very common in Valorant. Any character with a smoke can use them and abuse them. They are essentially smokes in which you can see the enemy, but they cannot see you. Or you can at least see a part of the enemy, and they can't see any of you. There are way too many one-way smoke positions for me to go over all of them, but if you play a character that has smokes, I definitely recommend looking up a video of one-way smokes and all the maps and stuff for that character, because they are very, very useful. That was all the important stuff that I just talked about, all the things you're going to encounter like every game and things like that. Now I'm going to go into some more obscure things and things I just want to talk about. The first obscure thing I want to talk about is use your map as your second pair of eyes. Watch this clip here. I get this kill because I look at my map and I see where the enemy is. Boom. That's one way of using your map. You can also use it, say your teammate's in a fight and you can wallbang the enemy. Looking at the map will show you where the enemy is, so you can hit that wallbang. But look at your map a little bit to find out where enemies are, find out enemy positions, because your team might not always call out where enemies are pushing from. As a Viper player, it kills me to say this, but Viper's snakebite, as you can see in the clip right now, it only does 64 damage overall. So it's not going to kill you, say no one else shoots you. In order for it to kill you, someone else would have to shoot you. So that also means if you have full shields, both of Viper's snake bites wouldn't be able to kill you. They'd only be able to do 128 damage to you. So Viper's snake bite does not do that much damage. The real lethality of it is when people are near you. So you don't have to be scared about it. Say she drops it, she dies, and you're going to defuse. So many people know that you can pick up Cypher's trap and camera, but did you also know that there's another ability in the game that can be picked up and reused, and that is Viper's Poison Cloud. Viper's Poison Cloud is able to be picked up while active or while not active. It doesn't really matter. You can pick it up, and then there's a little cooldown, and then you can reuse it again. I don't want to stretch this video too long with just a bunch more random stuff, so I'm just going to end it here, and I don't want to make it very long because that means more editing. So I'm going to end it off here. If you enjoyed the video, please like. If you want, subscribe. My next video probably won't be Valorant related, but I will upload more Valorant related videos in the future anyways. So yeah, I don't know, but I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you had a fun time watching. See ya.